Battlefield landscape?
It represents the long and hard-fought war between the Orthodoxy and we denizens of darkness. For 500 years, my thirst for vengeance remained unsated. It had also been 500 years since the Orthodoxy had been founded. The world was in the midst of an age of seafaring and piracy. Compared to the great exchange of ideas and information, the once hallowed Orthodoxy began to lose its luster. The authority of the Grand Patriarch and the Orthodoxy itself began to wane. Fearing irrelevancy, the Grand Patriarchy acted rashly to regain its authority. This led to the unusual decision to select a commoner, the gifted young Yulyana, for an important task.
Yulyana? Sage Yulyana?
Yes, indeed. At age 20, the young Yulyana became High Inquisitor of the Crystal Orthodoxy.
It's hard to believe he ever was young.
It was no laughing matter, for there was no one more skilled at rooting out enemies of the faith than he. The shadowy ones, those who had been working against the Orthodoxy, were crushed by the host he led. In the several decades that saw him age, I cannot count the number of times we have crossed swords, he and I. In the great battle waged on the Karka Plain, the might of our clashing forces rent the very earth into a vast rift.
You mean the rift under Ison Bridge?
In the battle at the foot of Mount Fragmentum, our armies smoked the mountain to its very roots.
So that's how that ravine was created.
And in the battle fought on the Harina Plain, the once fertile earth was reduced to desolation. The loss of that fertile plain is believed to have ushered in the downfall of the Harina dynasty.
To think any sort of battle could change the face of the earth so.
We fought our final battle 1800 years ago on the Norende Heights in the land of Kaldisla.
The Norende Heights? That's where the Great Chasm opened up!
In the end, Yulyana, High Inquisitor of the Crystal Orthodoxy, utterly defeated me. Lord De Rosso, leader of the Shadows.
You were defeated? But you're here with us today!
Yes, well, there was more to that final battle than meets the eye. You see, I ceded the glory of victory to young Yulyana that day. I say young in my reckoning, for he was already 100 then. Yulyana returned triumphantly to Eternia with what he claimed to be my remains. What he brought them was not human. And when the Templar attacked the head temple 15 years past, it is said they found my tomb deep underground. Ever dreading the darkness and my return, the Orthodoxy kept those duplicitous remains under arcane seal for over 1,000 years. Tis a tale replete with irony, is it not?
Lord De Rosso's war landscape.
It's hard to imagine a war lasting 500 years.
It's Yulyana!
Yes, indeed. No one would mistake such a man for young now. Having put down the blood-sucking Lord de Rosso, bane of the Crystal Orthodoxy, he became the first ever commoner to become an archbishop. Perhaps it was a small honor they threw his way, for he was already 101 years old and would not long count among the living.
That makes it sound despicable.
Agreed. The truth is, however, that was when Yulyana's plot was at its most clever.
The sage's plot? What was he plotting?
He was taking measures to separate you Vestals and the faithful among the people from the Orthodoxy's corruption. After serving some 80 years, he had witnessed firsthand how corrupt the institution had become. Should nothing be done, it would not be long before the putrid poison would do harm to the most innocent of the faith. So it was he vowed to rid the Orthodoxy of the source of this poison, the concentration of power.
But how?
For the great feat of defeating me, Yulyana had been made archbishop, but in name only. But such was not key to his plot. Timing was the key. The proper time to separate the Vestals and the faithful from the Orthodoxy.
And just what timing would that be?
The great upthrust of the Eternian Highlands. At the time, the Highlands were not so formidable as they are today. But a colossal movement of earth and rock thrust the Highlands to lofty heights, thereby isolating Eternia from the world.
Hold on a moment. He was waiting for the Earth to move? How could he have known when such an event would take place?
I shall tell you in time. For now I will say this. Yulyana bided his time till the Orthodoxy was cut off from the world. And at last, it happened. The Highlands ringing Eternia did thrust up to about half its height today. The Orthodoxy-ruled Eternia now found itself completely isolated, for this was an age preceding the airship. And while the Earth Crystal remained in their keep, control of the crystals of fire, water, and wind was returned to their respective temples. This, what you believe to be the true form of crystalism, is the fruit of Yulyana's efforts.
That was the sage's doing? I won't ever call him a miserable old lech again. Sage.
A portrait of the Archbishop.
He looks just as he does today, save for that elaborate attire.
What is that glowing jewel-like object? I could swear I've seen something like that before.
I believe you have seen a similar sight countless times. It is known as an asterisk.
An asterisk? As in those objects we possess?
Yes, indeed. The second stage in Yulyana's plot against the Orthodoxy's authority was to deprive them of the power to grant vocations.
Grant vocations? I'm afraid I don't follow.
Before Yulyana intervened, special approval was required to change vocations within the Crystal Orthodoxy. In this way, the institution grew rich through fat profits they called alms.
Oh, so the Orthodoxy cornered the job market and the fees to participate therein.
In layman's terms, yes. But Yulyana exposed this fact before the reigning Grand Patriarch. It was then that Yulyana approached panicked high officials and the Grand Patriarch himself with a proposal of pure genius. He showed them a stone known as an asterisk, saying the granting of vocation should be based on it, overseen by the Orthodoxy. Those who sought such vocations would apply to the Orthodoxy and pay a fair price. Anyone with the means to pay could thus learn a new job.
That's no different from the old system where people had to pay alms.
No different indeed. But the Grand Patriarch and his officials had not but the material profits of the Orthodoxy in mind. Hence, they accepted Yulyana's proposal without question, even appointing him to the important position of overseeing the new asterisk system.
I fail to see how that really changed anything.
Well, it did far more than you would guess. For he was the only one who knew how to make the asterisk stones.
Why, that wily old fox?
So it was Yulyana robbed the Orthodoxy of its authority to grant jobs and took it for himself.
What of the Orthodoxy's profits? Wouldn't they demand Yulyana transfer the proceeds to their coffers?
Yulyana was long gone. Abandoning the seat of Archbishop, he fled with his knowledge of the asterisk craft. He also took arms and armor the Orthodoxy had seized from around the world, items of such power that their use was forbidden. He took them all and sealed them away in a hidden location. They now lie secreted away against the day the Orthodoxy's tyranny or some other impending doom threatens the people. He then hid himself in Yulyana woods until those who knew him reached the end of their natural lives. But that did not take long, for I led the forces of the shadows to ensure their swift demise. I had always believed the Crystal Orthodoxy required not but the crystals, the vestals, and the faithful. With the institution free of corruption, I returned to my homeland of Eternia after a 700-year absence. Where my family's castle once stood, I built a fortress of ice from whence I have been watching over the Orthodoxy's head temple. Meanwhile, Yulyana retired to that land to tend to the Vestals, but you know of that better than I.
Say, Yulyana. The asterisk painting.
Sage Yulyana created asterisks to chip away at the Crystal Orthodoxy's authority.
I commend you for making it this far.
Oh, no more paintings?
The final painting lies beyond this throne. I shall reveal it to you if you defeat me in battle.
What?
The last test is a test of strength. I shall only reveal the painting to those whom I deem worthy. One might also say that there is no need for those who are unworthy to lay their eyes upon it. But be forewarned, I am a formidable foe. I trust you are well prepared.